music going. Get some energy. Get some life. Let's go, baby. Let's go. What is up, everybody, and welcome into the Bone Zone. Oh, that's right. I have an air horn here. It's playing. Oh, there it is. The crowd's going nuts. Everybody's very excited about this. I'm telling you, it's disorienting.
I'm not even ready to talk, dude.
Dude, I am telling you guys, I am so hyped. This is going to be a hype cast for Bones Hyland. A Bones Hyland hype cast. You might say, hey, wasn't the last show a Bones Hyland hype cast? And the one before, not compared to what you were about to hear, is the Denver Nuggets. The Summer League Denver Nuggets wrap up their time in Las Vegas with a win, with a nice dub, 94-87. So technically, guys, this is a winner's lounge.
Hell yeah, dude. It feels great to be back, you guys. Let's go. We're freaking so back right now.
We're presented, as always, by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. You can use promo code DNVR. You always do it wrong. Always do it wrong. There it is, right there. Use promo code DNVR when you sign up. And bet the last two games you bet on the Summer League Denver Nuggets underdogs. That's where they're the best. Right there. Get that money, baby. I'm joined by some esteemed colleagues. Seated up to the top over here. I guess it's in the top. It's Brennan Vogt.
Are we locked into the Bone Zone? Are we married to that? Are we using?
I am married to it. I am married to the Bone Zone.
All right, lock it in.
But it was like, if it is like a marriage, it's like an early life marriage. He'll definitely, this one won't work out.
It's like a modern.
Yeah.
You could definitely call it quits in 4 years.
It was like two young kids. They weren't ready to get married yet. Like, just give it time.
Down here I got D-Line Co. You guys know him as D-Line?
Yeah, let's freaking go, you guys. I don't know if I'm ready for my new life as just a nonstop boneser. I'm not ready for this, but sometimes you don't choose life; it chooses you.
You are a boneser. You are a bonesman. Quite a boneser,
dude. I've been. Listen. I mean, Harrison was the original bonesman.
He really was. You got to give
told us. He put it in the chat. He's like, "Hey guys, did you check out those Bones highlight?" And then he used the flame emoji, which, as you know, means hot fire. And I didn't. But I going into every draft season, I reserve the right to be wrong about everything because I don't watch. Like, I watch 3-4 minutes of these guys, and everybody looks really good in their 3 and 4 minutes. So as soon as the pick came in, I was ready. My heart was open, and it's been filled ever since. And it's just now it's overflowing. I'm like the Grinch, only better, I guess. I don't know.
I didn't know where you were going with that.
Me either. Clearly, I had no clue where I was going.
We both meandered there. So Summer League game number 5 for the Denver Nuggets, number 4 for the real Denver Nuggets of Zeke Naji and Bones Hyland. I think the only two real ones. Bol did not play in this game. He's somewhat of a real Nugget, I think, at the moment. At least on the roster. But his second game in a row, he did not play. I don't think it's that surprising. Third-year players usually will come down. If they play, they participate in like 1, maybe 2 games. Bol got 3 games out of that. I think even that was kind of more than I certainly thought. And so I think a lot of people trying to read into what does it mean that he didn't play. Guys, literally could mean anything, but I think more than anything, it was just, hey, let's get a look at Bones Hyland running the show and maybe having pieces around that aren't going to swallow up too much of the possessions or this or that, as Bol can do. Not necessarily a knock against him, but he's a loud player who sort of changes the texture of the game. These last 2 I thought have been Bones Hyland's best. And in large part, one of the things that is so exciting for me is that it has been so clearly everybody looking to Bones. Mm-hmm. I didn't think that in the first 2 games he played. It felt a little bit like, okay, who's the guy? But in these last 2, especially down the stretch, everybody has kind of been like, hey, man, what do you want us to run? What do you want us to do? Where do you want me to stand? All of that. And he just is so comfortable in that role. I honestly couldn't be more impressed with him, even though tonight, it's going to sound weird, only 20 points on 50% shooting, 7 of 14, but I still was so impressed with him. What do you think, Vogt?
Yeah, almost don't even care about the scoring. How about his first half as really the primary playmaker when he was out there? Ton of pressure, getting blitzed, getting doubled. And just as you've highlighted, as you did in that list that you released around halftime, he's just very comfortable, right? This is a guy, I think, if you watch 2 minutes of his YouTube video, you want to say he's a chucker, but you do some more research, you watch him play. He's a pretty smart player. And I think maybe his first year at VCU, more of a point guard that next year had to do some other things. But you're seeing a guy who I think is more comfortable in that role, facing pressure, finding guys, moving the ball. And I think 4 assists, 0 turnovers. He could have had more assists. I thought the Nuggets left plenty on the board with him out there. So a guy who's a better playmaker than This is not a knock, and I'm certainly not one, but the draft experts led on, at least in my eyes.
Yeah, man. It's no coincidence in any way, shape, or form that Bowl leaving the summer league team has. I mean, it's completely.
You're going to do this right away. You're just going to come in here and
Bowl. But I'm just saying. I'm not blaming Bowl. I'm just saying, like, it now has allowed there to be like some semblance of an offense, like a little baby offense, like with a point guard with the ball in their hand. I'm not like knocking Bull because it's summer league, so like it's really like any style of play, whatever works. But as far as like allowing Bones to like why he didn't look as good in the previous games as he has in the last two, it's clear. Like he just has the ball. He's sort of like, as you say, like he looks poised. He's getting the ball to people. He's not just looking to create his own shot, but he's not afraid to do it either. I love it. Like he gets better and better as the game goes on. He's done that now at least 2 games in a row, if not 3, where it starts off a little slow and like allows the game to sort of like open up in front of him. And then he gets more and more confident, starts hitting those shots. And like, varying what he's doing, like he's so slippery, like getting to the basket, and he's so like he varies what he does. It's like, dude, I just can't get enough. I literally can't get enough. Dude, I am so in on Bones. It's disgusting.
Run through the context again too. Like first year player, not a lottery pick, got off to as worst a start as it could have gone with the COVID protocols. Comes out, look, more or less, I would say that's about as high a bar as you can set, for someone where he was drafted in that context. He looked very comfortable. It'd be hard to imagine or expect him looking much better. Now it's just summer league, but again, look, that's a hurdle you can clear or fall on. Some guys who we'll talk about later in this show, they've stumbled. Bones cleared his, and it's really exciting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the questions you don't know. Like all this, you can do the scouting, the skill set, this or that, and even that, I feel like, I feel like I now know maybe Bones' skill set 70%. Like I have a good grasp on it. There's more that we're going to learn. I mean, at the end of the day, we only watched him 4 times at this level. So there's still more that we're going to unpack and learn. But I feel like we have a pretty good read on what his strengths and weaknesses are. But from a character standpoint, that's where you really don't know these guys. And I feel like we got our first glimpse of that throughout this, in that they had every excuse you could have made in the book, arriving on such short notice and this or that. But he really embraced, I thought, it looked like he embraced this challenge, and just his personality and approach to the games was so contagious. Like the rest of the team, as this summer league experience went on, you saw other guys just starting to play with a little bit more pep in their step and a little bit more confidence and excitement and just joy. And I really do think that was a thing that was very obvious in watching the game, that you can see it, that he brings that contagious joy to his teammates.
Yeah, the other thing is it's just people sort of had an idea of what their role was, like in a small way. Like it became less of a free for all, and I think that brings like it gives people sort of solace. They're not freaking out. They're not just running around like as soon as they get the ball, I'm like am I supposed to shoot this? Like what am I doing?
Right.
So,
yeah. Honestly, what they were all doing was looking to him, as in like in a weird way, you're the point of all of this, not the point guard, just the point. Like, and we'll all fall in line behind you, and that alone gave a lot of clarity.
He has a lot of gravity to him on and off the court. He's a guy people are looking to. He's a guy who appears to be well liked. I mean, we talked about on this show, every summer league broadcast I watched mentioned that he had the biggest personal cheering section there. And this is a guy that people, their eyes are on Bones, and he's got a lot of people in his corner. And so there's from an off the court sort of personality thing, there's a bit of a Thrill Monte hybrid thing going on here, and I'm all for it. This is a guy he's got a ton of charisma, and he's anything but a boring pick where they took him.
For sure, he's not boring. This was a very enjoyable summer league, and honestly, it was because of him. If he sat out tonight, I was honestly prepared mentally for if he didn't play, I was going to be like, what am I going to? I'm going to have to sit and watch this and have notes. But it honestly would have been a disaster. I have to take a quick little intermission here because Adam Sargent says, getting strong lingerie vibes from Adam's curtains.
Yeah, we all
I'd never had anybody get attracted to my blinds. Close your eyes.
It's a kid's show, Adam.
That's actually not true. Just you've never had anybody tell you about it.
That's right. I think that every
we see
time
those
I go
blinds
over.
all the time, Adam. We have thoughts.
The comment section every now and then surprises me. I'm ready for anything, and then I think I am, and then I'm surprised yet again.
Yep.
As Vogt mentioned earlier, I did just do an edition of the list on almost exclusively on Bones Hyland. I think I had one Zeke Naji clip in there.
You know,
Trying to highlight his demon. What's that?
No Xylem Cheatham.
I didn't, and it's funny because there are people hitting me up about it and say, "Hey, what do you think of this guy?" Or that, Burton or whatever. And I don't have any thoughts just because I'm pretty confident. I put this out the other day in the Discord. Another reason for you to become a member is so that you can get in the chat and hear little inside tidbits. I think there is a decent chance that the Nuggets have their entire 17-man roster locked up right now. We already know the 15-man roster is locked up. We know that Marcus Howard has one of the two-ways. I have a sneaky suspicion that we might have a familiar face with the other two-way, and I think it might be none other than one Peter Connelly. I don't know this for certain. This is just my sort of reading the tea leaves, both based on some things, we heard around the water cooler, but also, if you remember, guys, on draft night, the photograph of the board.
They dropped the whiteboard.
It's actually funny. If you look at the whiteboard for the Denver Nuggets, everything they have predicted has happened on draft night. The number 26 pick, they had JG and JG. We now know that's Jeff Green and JaMychal Green as the backup 4 and 5. They had Zeke Naji there penciled in as like the fifth string of both of those. You had Bol. And then your two ways, you had an MH and a PC. Well, MH, clearly Marcus Howard. PC, could we be looking at a Peter Connelly reemergence from the wild?
Is there anybody else that it could be? Is there like a pill? It's got to be. No. That's the only one.
Nothing. I got nothing.
I got nothing either.
Part of why
and also if you follow it down, like they had the number 26 pick as a point guard.
Oh, they did actually. You're right. They did have that. I don't know if that's how I would have read it.
It's funny for you to say though, like that everything that it predicted came true. It's like that's what they were doing. That's not like these are the things we are doing.
Well, hey, let's actually be fair here. There are a handful of Tim. You look at New Orleans, if they would have leaked their whiteboard on accident on draft night, nothing that they wanted to happen came true. So, it's not, we can't take for granted that they really kind of had a plan, a vision that they wanted and kind of took it out. But, I want to get back to Bones. So I did do the addition of the list, and there's all those clips on there. The number one thing, I said this, by the way, on the podcast I did on Saturday night after that last game, which was maybe even more impressive in some ways than this one. This one was very impressive as well. But the thing that really stands out to me about Bones is his basketball IQ. That you mentioned there, Vogt, earlier about his passing. I know some draft nicks and some of the front office members that were like, hey, he actually is a really good passer. Way do you see it? So I wasn't as surprised at that aspect of it, but it was his feel for the game and his basketball IQ that really stood out to me last game and this game as well. I think he is a more cerebral player. We all know he was a hooper, as Harrison Wind, who will be joining us shortly, likes to say. But I think he's actually going to be a very smart player as well.
Well, that's what I mean. He was described as a guy who could pass and was willing to pass, but no one really – a lot of secondary playmaker talk, but I see
exactly
the foundation of a guy who maybe, Adam, at least on the summer league level, could be a primary playmaker for some of the reasons you were making. And I don't want to steal your thunder, but you juxtapose it with like an Emmanuel Mudiay who could get the first step on a lot of guys and had no plan from that point forward. And Bones is a guy who is reading, he's watching, he's reading, and he's making deliberate movements. And it's just, cerebral's the word. Off ball as well, he moves really well. This is a guy, again, you don't want to just do that he's a pickup player because it's a guy who has a lot of NBA style sort of mental things going on and the makeup of a guy who I think has got some potential as a primary creator.
I'm with you on this. I don't think you need to hedge your bet. I think he shows the upside to be a primary facilitator.
Yep.
Now, whether that means, look, I think the Nuggets need 3 facilitators at all time, Jokic plus at least 2 other, if not 3 other. But to me, he looks – I'm with you. I thought he was a combo guard. And I'm like, no, he could be, I think, a straight-up point guard.
Yeah.
Definitely. I've said it before, and I'm still waiting for the challenge I put out into the universe. Somebody, including Bones Hyland, needs to convince me that we did not draft Damian Lillard. This has not been challenged yet. I've not seen a single argument against it. He's got to hesitate. Like he's like, I don't know, man. He's not like particularly quick. He's stealthy, like and slippery, like you said, like Luka. I mean, in the way that he will just get the ball out in front of his defender and just get his front shoulder out in front of the guy. And then he's past him. He's beat him. And it's so impressive. And then obviously like his jump shot is so effortless. Like, I don't really understand it. Like it looks like he's just kind of like shot putting it, but it's pure. And it's like, it comes so quickly. And it's unexpected and expected at the same time. Like you really don't know what he's going to do, which is like makes him an even greater threat, you know, to pass it, to drive it, to shoot it. Like, did I tell you I'm all in, dude? I'm all in.
You're not as all in as I am. I'm surprisingly all in on him as well. You know, this early, I really like him. You know, along the Damian Lillard lines, you know, my favorite play from this game tonight, when Bones pulled up from like 40 feet, he missed it, but just like the audacity to be like, you know what, F it, I'm shooting this ridiculous shot. And he almost made it.
With 2 minutes left in that close game, he had the ball at half court, and I yelled, "Do it" from my couch.
Yeah.
Why not?
It's so funny. He just has the confidence to take those. And I really think, you know, Tyler Lydon, this is a funny comparison, but Tyler Lydon was a really good shooter. I mean, we saw him. First of all, his numbers in college were great. And if you watched him in practice, he was great. But remember in Summer League, how many wide open shots he would pass up? And we're like, dude. And I think, honestly, it was that the ability to shoot and the confidence to shoot are two different things. And Bones has the ability to shoot, I think, no question. But he has the confidence. Like, he just doesn't mind. He missed a couple shots early and just kept going. Like, I really do think he's a pure basketball player in that way, where like he has a nice goldfish memory, just moves on to the next shot and is ready to keep it going. And you just love to see it.
You know what I like about him too is like when the shot clock is winding down and he has to get a shot up, he doesn't rush them. Like he still like is even that shot in the corner. Like he didn't rush that shot. He still took his time and like got it up and there was no panic to his approach, which is amazing. I love it.
Yeah, I do love the idea. I mean, we'll talk about this a little bit on the other side, but I do love the idea of Denver now, maybe more than ever, can throw out a 5-man lineup that is like all great offensive players. I mean, Bones probably isn't there yet. I know he looks good in Summer League, and I'm going to get hyped. We're going to bring this up, but it is a different beast to go to the next level. Sure. And defensively, there's still like, okay, some question marks. But offensively, man, I really like the mold, and I think he's going to be fantastic. The set shot, Eric, as you're talking about, I put this on the list as well, but he doesn't dip. A lot of guys will bring that ball down low, especially skinny guys. This is like a skinny guy trait, like really pro up. Like he catches it here and goes up with it, man. And it's really quick. It catches guys off guard.
Angles his body forward too. He's like his whole body is like going towards the basket. It's I've never really seen a shot like it before.
And more than anything, he's just fun. Like, he's easy to root for. He seems, by all accounts, to be a really great dude. The Nuggets themselves did a great job with a video today it was like a behind-the-scenes look at him, and you just saw he's got the whole family there. I always love it when you've got an extended family with, like, uncles and cousins and stuff, and he's so clearly the center of attention. Now, granted, this is, you know, he's an NBA player now and this or that, but, you know, you can just tell that he's the charismatic one in the family. Everybody has one, and it's just he's so easy to root for. So I'm very I'm so excited for the Bones. And by the way, I remember talking to Will Barton about Jokic's first training camp and how much energy he brought. I fully expect that from Bones this year. I kind of expect him to. We talked about, did they get enough new blood, or is it going to kind of feel like going back to school? You come back in for training camps, all the same faces, same name. Like, do you get? I think Bones. Jeff Green also, you know, he's a good locker room, good glue guy, but I think Bones Hyland is going to bring a lot of that energy that's like, okay, we got the fresh blood in here who's really excited.
Could see Jamal really liking him, couldn't you? I mean, I know he's not going to be on the court and stuff every day, but yeah, it just could be good for vibes. And I'm now excited for preseason because I do want to see some Bones reps with those first unit guys if we get them. Yeah. You know, we'll see how much they play, but, you know, could be the case as much as I'm in on Bones like everyone else is. As far as, you know, his role in the rotation and stuff, still a rookie, plenty of guards ahead of him. Could be the case we get that first extended look at the G League. So preseason for now becomes that much more of something I really want to focus on. I'm really excited to see what this guy looks like with competent talent and spacing around him, because it's been a slog for a player who I think is very talented.
Yeah, the greatest part about Summer League is that if you're too good, they make you stop playing. You're like, just get out of here. Like, what are you doing? Like, do you know how to play basketball? Beat it.
Another thing I really like is how much the VCU fans are standing in. Like I got some VCU guys that are like hopping in. Like you guys are gonna love
it's like we've got Serbia, Argentina, and now VCU. The
now
three sovereign nations.
3 sovereign nations for sure. You mentioned the one-on-one. I think him and Jamal probably won't happen this year, but him and Jamal are going to have. They're going to be the 2 guys that stay after every practice going one-on-one with a running tally of like who wins. They're both similar in that way, and I can't wait to catch glimpses of those 2 playing.
I just need to make sure you guys are ready for when I post the meme of CJ and Dame wipe the glasses, Jamal and Bones. Are you ready for this? Like, let me know.
It kind of feels like an insult, to be honest, but you know what? Whatever.
Okay,
we'll go with that.
Not everyone's ready. I understand.
Maybe if you want to do like a Curry and Clay or something like that, okay, I would welcome it. Let's take a break. On the other side, a lot of people asking, okay, well, where does Bones fit in? Let's look at that. What are his paths to actually playing minutes for the real Nuggets this season, as well as talk about Zeke Naji and Bol.
First, let's talk about Breckenridge Brewery. You know we love our Breck beers and our seltzers. We also love that Breckenridge Brewery is teaming up with the National Parks Conservation Association. As you know, as we've told you many times, Breck is donating 1% of all their profits this summer to the National Parks Conservation Association. That's right. If you buy some booze, you're doing some good. How about that? Also, you can enter to win a $30,000 skateboard trailer if you go to m/ingoodco. That's Ignore that. If you go to breckbrew.com/ingoodco for more details, winning that $30,000 skateboard trailer. That's breckbrew.com/ingoodco. Also,
look at this, Eric. Everybody, welcome. VCU
Farmhouse is open.
Let's freaking go.
You can get their booze delivered on the Drizzly app. You could pick it up at the grocery store. Also, if you want to order some food and booze from the Farmhouse, call 303-803-1380 from 12 to 8 p.m. Use code DNVR to save $5. And I'm pretty sure I know what happens next. Oh, it changed. Strava Craft Coffee. You guys know how much I love Strava Craft Coffee. The CBD infused coffee that'll leave you honking like a what?
A goose.
Like a goose, baby. Right now, you can get 25% off your first purchase when you use code DNVR25. Or if you want to be really, really smart, you can use that code to subscribe to their subscription service. Then you get 20% off your CBD infused coffee every single shipment. You choose what flavor, what dosage, when it comes every 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks. So remember, if you're a first-time user, Strava is now offering 25% off. Just use code DNVR25 at checkout. Also, we've got some sweet cold brew on tap at the bar. So if you're ready for a long night of drinking, but you need a little pick-me-up, do it the way I like to get my pick-me-up. Do it with Strava Craft Coffee. Have yourself honking like a goose.
Another thing, by the way, about the DNVR bar, we now have the beer towers. They come with a little ice in the middle, and then it's a tower. So it sits at your bar like your own little draft, which is just the coolest thing. First of all, DNVR bar guys, a lot of popping. I know we had a lot of people coming out for games, this or that. The DNVR bar just feels good. So if you fantasy football, we have a great deal going on. If you bring your squad down for fantasy football, I think you get 2 pitchers of beer for free. So they've got Tuesday night trivia. We got all kinds of good stuff going on. So you no longer just have to go to the DNVR bar for games. You can actually go there to pregame, postgame, or just game it up.
You could patronize it as a business. That's what it is. It's a business. It's open daily.
Everybody always tells me every time they go, they're like, it just feels so nice in here, man. It just feels so chill.
Vibes are good.
The vibes are so immaculate in there.
Dude, by the way, if you don't get one of those beer towers filled with Strava cold brew, I don't know what.
Wow, that's beyond honking like a goose, right there.
I don't think Steven Strava recommends that.
Life expectancy of a goose.
Let's not mince words here, guys. Zeke Naji had a rough summer league.
Sure did.
And it's kind of funny. Myself including, I was leading the Zeke Naji should be getting minutes. I'm worried about Jeff Green, JaMychal Green. You can't read too much into summer league, but I very at this moment have an unspeakable amount more confidence in Jeff Green and JaMychal Green playing meaningful minutes than I do of Zeke Naji. And look, let's preface it by all the usual things. This was really rough on him. He's not a summer league type player. He's a basketball player, not a hooper. He arrived late, this or that. And also, if you go back and watch, he missed a lot of catch and shoot threes in this game that were halfway down, whatever. He just had a bad shooting. Sometimes you have a bad shooting stretch. That being said, every chance he got to put the ball on the floor, literally every chance, turned out to be a disaster. And that's the part where I look at and I go, man, his skill set is very limited, and he just didn't do himself any favors. We've talked about this a little bit, Vogt, but what's your level of opinion changing with him.
Yeah, I mean, go back to the hurdle example. He tripped, so it doesn't mean he's necessarily out of this race or won't ever work his way back into the rotation. But like you said, I thought he had to gain some ground after those signings, and he certainly didn't do that. If anything, he probably fell behind a little. Look, I believe in the shot. I think as a catch and shoot guy, he's going to be fine for his size. He can move his feet defensively. That was something the front office was hoping would be the case, and I think that's proven to be the case, so that's a plus. But this is why you do the Jermichael Green, Jeff Green stuff when you're operating as a contender. Those guys are known qualities, and maybe Zeke could be something more, but you're using the word maybe, and you're asking questions. And Tim Connelly had an opportunity to answer a question with part of the mid-level exception, and I just think that's prudent front office work, and we're seeing why now.
I see this comment from Andrew Buckman saying that Zeke is a tweener. He's not mobile enough to be the 4. I disagree with that. I think he's very mobile. In fact, his defensive mobility, I put this up on the list, that's been a very impressive part of his game. That's really the only part of his game that has popped is his ability to kind of slide his feet and guard not just 4s, but 3s, 2s, and 1s. So I think defensively he's by no means a tweener. I think he'll be very good. But you got to provide something on the offensive end, and really I'm not even sure just catch and shoot 3-point shooting would be enough. You would hope that he would start adding pieces, and I mean, he really is on the ground floor of that. Before we say anything, Eric, let's bring in the man with the wind in his hair onto it. Oh my gosh,
boys.
So windy in here.
It is so windy in here. But we're talking about Zeke Naji. Eric, do you want to? Harrison, you missed the Bones Hyland part, but don't worry, you caught the Zeke Naji part. You're just in time.
My thing with Zeke Naji is that we've seen him play better in an NBA environment, and so I don't think that any of the coaching staff is looking at this other than just like all right, this just did not work out for him. This is not showcasing him, but. I mean, I definitely feel like less satisfied with Zeke Naji going into the season, but I also know that the real decisions are not coming from Summer League. They're coming from the preseason, the workouts, et cetera. And he's looked a million times better playing actual NBA basketball than he did playing any of these Summer League games. I mean, he was high on all of our lists on guys to watch going in, and man, it just what a massive disappointment from that standpoint.
But again, couldn't have gotten that much worse. It really couldn't have.
He couldn't catch. I mean, he had Michael Porter Jr. ball catching issues. Every time he went into the lane.
Let's build what Zeke Naji was. He has Michael Porter's hands. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh god.
3-point shot.
Paul Millsap with the ball in his hands on the fast break.
Okay, we got all that. A little rough.
Yeah.
A little rough.
It was really rough, but I don't care. You know what I mean? None of it means anything to me other than it just sucked. I wanted to be excited, and I'm not.
Harrison, before we rebound to happy Bones Hyland thoughts, give us Zeke Naji thoughts, but also was anything said in the post game about him and his experience here?
Yeah, really the only thing that was said was Charles Klask was just we're not worried about him. Obviously he shot it terribly at Summer League. What was he? 2 of 16 or 17 or 18 from 3?
I think 18, 2 of 18.
2 of 18 from 3. But yeah, Klaus just said we're pretty much not worried about him. After last game, he said, look, he does so many other things that don't show up in the box score that we're still really excited about, which, is totally true. But I mean, he looked, like you said, Adam, as bad as he possibly could look on the offensive end. He was pressing today. I mean, he was a really good free throw shooter. He only shot 15 free throws last year, but he was money from the line whenever he got in. He shot a free throw today that almost, I thought, got wedged between the backboard and the rim. I think it hit the backboard first. It was ugly, man. And so
I think he was rattled, and I think
he was rattled.
And that's part of that's not an excuse. It's to say hey man, this is a guy that you're hoping can fill in and play real minutes. But he's a guy that was rattled in Summer League, and that's a piece of the puzzle, at least for where he is right now.
No, and totally. And you can say, look, Summer League doesn't really mean that much. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And I even said this on the show on Friday, or the last show we did. Yeah, it's more important what he did in the NBA last year. But if Zeke Naji was shooting 40% from 3 right now, it looked great. We'd all be talking about him as, we got to put this guy in the rotation. Exactly. So, yes, Summer League does absolutely matter from that standpoint.
Yeah. So here's an interesting question. Not that our opinion on this matters. Like if we go through the depth chart, it's just a fun conversation to have August 16th. Like we have 6 weeks now basically before anything's going to happen in the NBA. So this is the time we start these conversations. But at this very moment, everybody I think is comfortable with Aaron Gordon and Jokic as the starting backcourt. Jeff Green, JaMychal Green is the backup front court. Is anybody object to that at this moment and think, hey, man, I think Zeke still is the guy there, or we all kind of see him below the Jay Greens?
No, it's probably them two or Peter Connelly. Like he might be the other guy in there. I don't know.
No way. We can't put Peter Connelly above Zeke Naji now. Come on, man.
We would have seen it. We would have seen it on the depth chart, guys.
But here's
the board.
Vlatko Cancar had a great Olympics. Zeke Naji had a terrible summer league. Does anybody feel now that Vlatko maybe at this very moment in your own personal ranking, for whatever that's worth, is maybe slightly ahead of Zeke Naji in your trust scale?
Yes.
That's tough. That's tough.
Trust scale, the way you frame it, I'll say yes. I trust Vlatko at this point more.
So there's a big game, big Sunday night game. You got to put somebody in because everybody got hurt. You got to put somebody in. You're thinking there's Vlatko, there's Zeke. You're saying Vlatko, get in there.
He's got experience, man. He was part of the 7.
Part of the 7. I like it. I like that. That's the thing that pushed it over the edge. Okay. All right. So let's get back to Bones. Harrison, what was your takeaway from today with Bones?
I mean, more really, really encouraging stuff. In the first half, he had 4 assists, no turnovers. Thought he was great as a playmaker. These last 2 games, I feel like we've really just seen him take total control over the team. Scoring, playmaking, just being the lead guy. And it's somewhat of a coincidence, maybe. Not so much of a coincidence that Bull goes out and the team just kind of turns over to Bones Hyland and they win 2 games. But I thought he was great. His 3-point shot looks absolutely legit. He shot 40% from 3 at Summer League on a bunch of attempts. I mean, he was 3 of 9 from 3 today. That's pretty much been on par with what he's done throughout Summer League. So I thought he was great.
Yeah. What about after the game? Did Charles Klask, who spoke, by the way, and did Charles Klask have any other commentary on Bones?
Yeah, we spoke to Charles and Bones. And Charles said that he thought today was a great sign of Bones' basketball maturity. I got to say, Charles Klask is a great quote. He's a great quote. I've actually had a really enjoyable time chatting with him this week. But he said today was a great sign of his basketball maturity. Apparently, Denver had to switch up a bunch of things on the fly, just in terms of their game plan and based on how Milwaukee was guarding them today. And this is something that Klask said after the last game and I wrote about. Bones was coming to him in the huddles and being like, no, I don't want the screen because they're doubling me off the screen. I just want to take my man one-on-one. So Bones is already like recognizing that stuff and defensive tendencies and whatnot and telling the coaching staff what he wants. So that kind of stuff for a 20-year-old point guard, I don't think you see that often. Charles Klask said after last game that's pretty rare. So that stuff is really, really exciting.
Yeah. What did Bones have to say about this game and maybe even just this experience?
He was happy with his play. He's really tried to become more of a leader. He's tried to use his voice more over these last couple games because he was kind of pissed at himself that he didn't his first game, and he really got on himself. So that's what he's really been trying to improve on. But he said he's just been playing how he's always played and watching like his highlight tape. Yeah, this is how he's always played. He's let it fly from 3. He's shown a lot more, I think, as a playmaker and a pure point guard than we saw at VCU last year. We talked about this a little bit, but his freshman year at VCU, he played more point guard. Sophomore year, he played off the ball. So he can do a little bit more point guard stuff that I think a lot of people gave him credit for coming into Summer League. But he said the plan for him now is to go get settled in Denver and then get in the weight room. He wants to play at around 175 pounds this coming season, which is what he was at the Combine. He said he's lost a little weight just traveling, and kind of working out in the lead up to these last couple games.
I love these dudes who, when they're not dieting properly, like they lose weight, not gain it.
I know.
I was just thinking, like, we traveled to Vegas. I did not lose weight.
Yeah.
Only things I lost was like dignity and
a lot of money.
Don't forget money.
Money. My girlfriend. Well, it's complicated.
So he's going to try to get back up to 175 pounds, but he said he doesn't want to put on so much weight that he loses his speed and his agility. So the Nuggets will be conscious of that.
I think it was Adam who said, not even sure he can with that body type, but we'll see. Yeah.
We'll find out. That is cool though to hear that he'll be back here. You know, I mean, he just weeks ago he didn't know what city he would be living in. Now it sounds like he's going to make the move and start the training process. I mean, the season will be here, I think, before people realize it. As early as next week, we have to start prepping for the the start of the season. Our start of the season player profiles and all that stuff. So
everybody out there,
we're going to have a meeting
coming up.
No, what I'm saying, I say that as a prep to them, saying like, we're already at the point where we have to prepare for training camp. Like, it's not a thing where it's like, training camp's down the line. It's actually going to be here sooner than you think. Man. So it's exciting. Why don't we hit our last break? Actually, first, let me just do a grade. Eric, give Bones Hyland a grade for Summer League.
Are you kidding? What do you think I'm going to give him? He's an A plus. I didn't know exactly what to expect from Bones Hyland. His highlights looked great. We were all nervous about his size. We didn't know if a guy like that could translate to the NBA. We still don't know. We do know that he translates very well to NBA Summer League. But there's just something about the way that he moves, the way he plays. Like, it's just so intriguing to me. I've watched his highlights from the other night, like approximately 8 million times. I just kept watching them over and over.
It was a very fun game.
There's just something about like his hesitation. Like, he puts his big foot down and like steps back, and
his big foot.
His feet are very big. Like, he reminds me of like
I thought you just meant one's like bigger.
I know, like he has the crusher,
either one,
the pincher claw.
Either foot is his big foot that he puts down. But the way he plants his foot and is then able to be agile and nimble off of it, it's like I watch the NBA, as you know, just purely based off of like
that's right, mechanically, baby.
I do. I really watch it mechanically. I watch it like the dance that it is, like, and so when I see somebody that's just like is so intriguing to me from a movement and like a, as you say, mechanic standpoint, it's like it just like adds another level. So I'm so intrigued.
Bones Hyland, mover.
Yeah, shaker.
Give us your grades, by the way, in the chat. I'm curious to hear what everybody else had to say. Harrison, what grade would you give him?
Oh, an A. Absolutely an A. I mean, he got what he wanted. I feel like for the most part, whenever he was on the court, that first game was a little shaky, but these last two games, back-to-back 20-plus point games, just seemed comfortable out there. It didn't seem like the game was too quick for him at all. And I asked Charles Classic about this after the game. I was just like, how far away do you think he is from potentially being a part of your rotation? And like, I'm not going to take Charles Classic at his word here, but he said that, yeah, he could be part of our rotation just simply because there's always room for players like him with a great feel for the game. And that's to Eric's point. He's got an amazing feel for the game. And, he's a true hooper, and hoopers have that feel.
Every time you say it, it just cracks me up. What about you, Vogt?
I'll go A-. Leave some room for growth defensively. How about that? If he was a better player on that end, then I'd say A+. Offensively,
you're such a stern taskmaster.
That's right. I grade like an upper-level philosophy professor. I'm an asshole.
I'm going to go with A+. I'm an easy grader over here, I guess. But here's what
communications professor.
Here's what I would say. He, I think, is my favorite Summer League Nugget that I've watched. So I've been watching since 2015, and like Jokic would be number 2. But even Jokic, like, bigs just don't pop as much. I loved watching the passing, this or that. But like Bones actually got to run the show and be this, and he was so much fun. He honestly made this Summer League a very fun Summer League for me personally, and he was just very, very exciting. So he gets an A+, and he's all the way at the top with Jokic. Those guys are in tier 1. I don't know who the other tier is. Who
More fun than Nikola Radicevic?
More
Honestly,
fun than
tier 2 is just Jimmer. It's just him. And
what
then
about
we'd have
Peter
Pink.
Cornelay the first time?
The first time we were so pumped. All right, let's
First
take our
time,
last break. Harrison, why don't you take us into our last break? On the other side, though, let's answer that question. How does Bones get on the court that I've been teasing? What is it going to take?
Yeah, guys, we're now sponsored by Ball across the entire DNVR network. You know Ball Arena where the Nuggets play. Also the aerospace technology company, also the world's largest aluminum can and packaging manufacturer. They have a plant right here in Golden, and they're hiring. They are hiring at their Golden plant. If you're interested in working at Ball, check them out. Jobs.ball.com and search for Golden. Jobs.ball.com, search for Golden, or simply text Golden to 77222. Ball Arena, the place where the Nuggets play, and Ball, the company that makes the 8, 12, and 16-ounce can sizes for all kinds of liquids. They're doing a lot of great stuff for the country and the world as well. So check them out today. They've been leading global sustainability efforts for decades. Jobs.ball.com if you want more info on working for Ball.
It's officially a Bones Boy summer, dude. It's big.
It's a Bones Boy summer.
God. Let's see here. Oh, at Manscaped right now. At Manscaped, DNVR listeners, get 20% off plus free shipping with the code DNVR at manscaped.com. Look, you absolutely need the Lawnmower 4.0 for the summer. It's a requirement for living in Denver during the summer. You need to get the Lawnmower 4.0. You can get it as a part of the Perfect Package, the Performance Package 4.0, which includes the Lawnmower 4.0. You also get that $39 travel bag. You get the different blade lengths, sizes 1 through 4, that comes with the Lawnmower 4.0, which has that 4000K LED spotlight. Get it all for 20% off with free shipping when you use the code DNVR at manscaped.com. 20% off pre-shipping or free shipping with the code DNVR at manscaped.com. Finally, guys, who wants to win some money this week on DraftKings?
What?
Anyone?
Me?
Anyone?
I told you we went to Vegas, right? We need to recoup.
Yeah. I'm itching to get back on DraftKings after we couldn't use it in Vegas. Just itching. But right now,
never been a bigger travesty.
I know, man. It really hasn't. To celebrate the start of college football season, DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is putting new players in the center of the action with $200 in free bets instantly if you bet $1 or more in any college football game. Take advantage of this limited time offer now. DraftKings is giving all new players $200 in free bets instantly when you place a bet of $1 or more on any college football game, no matter what. So make sure to download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code DNVR to receive $200 in free bets when you place a $1 bet on any college football game. Promo code DNVR to get your free $200 in free bets instantly for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
All right, here we go. Final segment here. Let's talk now. Bones, how does he get on the court? I think Jamal Murray's out for most of the season. Guys that are certainly going to be in the rotation: Monte Morris, Will Barton, PJ Dozier, and I think Facu is the next one there that I would say they're just not. Facu's going to play. Guys that are next up in that line include Marcus Howard and Austin Rivers, probably in reverse order. Austin Rivers, then Marcus Howard. So already you're kind of looking at it and say, okay, he's going to have to beat somebody out. Do you think that there's a chance that Denver will just move everybody down a spot and he can naturally fit in, or do you feel like at this very moment he's got to beat somebody out of a spot vote?
I think him and Austin Rivers are probably the next guys, right? If there's either scheduled rest or an injury, or both. So I think he would probably have to beat Rivers out. I don't know if that's the biggest mountain to climb, but I do think there's going to be a small trust factor with Rivers here already. Insofar as, we've seen you do this from the Nuggets perspective. We've seen you play your role, stay within your role, say the right things, help us win a playoff game. So, I think they would give Rivers another nod. But I do kind of see Bones in that kind of RJ Hampton slot where, yeah, he's not in the rotation, but don't rule out him playing.
Yeah.
Eric?
I think you're absolutely right. Like there's no path immediately for him to be like part of the actual rotation outside of somebody getting injured. Like there's just no way. There's just too many guys in front of him. And, we're talking about not what is just like the right and just path for Bones Hyland. We're talking about what Michael Malone would choose to do. And so
there's also not that long of a runway for him to like outshine somebody. Like if he outshined people in camp, I mean, we're talking about 1 week.
Right.
Is that enough of a sample size for Malone to be like, wow, that's our guy? He'd have to really, really surprise.
Yeah, I just think there's no chance. There's just there's no beating it out. I don't even think that Malone would be looking at it like that, like seeing about evaluating whether or not he could outplay one of those other players. It's sort of just like, can he fit into this already established team? So, but I think you're right. That RJ Hampton parallel, I think is spot on. Like he'll come in, he'll get some spot minutes. It'll be exciting. And then he'll disappear for a long time. Everyone will get mad. We'll be on Bones watch for a good portion of the season. Which I hope that he just
watch.
My hope is that he spends almost all of the season in Grand Rapids. Like he just gets time on the court and he just plays.
See, I don't. I hope he plays. And honestly, one of the things I look at is he reminded me in summer league of his team at VCU, and that so much was asked of him. I mean, I've talked about how he took twice as many shots as anybody else on his VCU roster. The same, you go to the summer league and everything was on his shoulders, his admittedly self-proclaimed wide shoulders. So he had a lot to do. I'm so curious what it looks like if he does share the court, just theoretically, with Michael Porter Jr., Nikola Jokic, Will Barton. Like, what happens if you give him that much spacing to where he's a footnote on the scouting report, and now all of a sudden he's wide open, and when he's catching the ball, he's got the worst defender and this or that. I want to see him at least a little in that, because I actually think, unlike most rookies, especially rookie guards who look great in summer league and then look worse, I think defensively he's going to look a lot worse than he did in summer league. But I think offensively he might actually look better once you give him more spacing and lower a lesser role.
And when you make that RJ Hampton comparison, the difference there is Bones can actually shoot it. And is like a very, very advanced offensive player with the ball in his hands as a playmaker, finishing than RJ Hampton was. Even though Bones Hyland's only 20, I think he's turning 21 next month, but he's much further along, at least in my opinion, than RJ Hampton was. Maybe RJ gave you a little more defensively just because he was a little more athletic. He was more quick twitchy than Bones is, but just from like a plug and play ability, I think you're probably a little more confident with Bones, definitely on the offensive side of the floor.
Sure.
But I'm with Eric. I mean, I also want to see him play with the Nuggets, just because one of the themes for this Denver team all year, I think, is going to be playing a deep bench, and that they should be doing that. But I would expect, like, the second the G League season starts, for Bones Hyland to go to Grand Rapids.
Well, here's the thing, though. I know a lot of people saying Malone doesn't play rookies, this or that, and it's mostly true. Facu, not really a traditional rookie. He obviously played a lot. But, Jokic played 1,700 minutes as a rookie. Jamal Murray played 1,700 minutes. I know that was earlier in the process. Part of this is just that Denver has a lot of good players. But if we look at some of the players that you wanted to play, like Zeke Naji, he didn't play last year. It makes a little bit more sense now that he didn't play a ton of minutes. Like, okay, it looks like he probably has a long way to go. You just go down the list of some of the guys, Juancho and Gomez, Malik Beasley. These were all guys that, they needed extra time to become good players. And maybe Malone was still a little bit tight there, in terms of how much of a leash he allotted those guys. But I still think if Bones is good, if he really is a cut above those guys we're saying, not Jokic and Murray, but the rest of the guys, if he is, then I think there is an avenue. And even RJ Hampton last year got minutes with the Denver Nuggets. And Denver had a deeper backcourt last year when RJ Hampton was healthy, and they still had to go to him because of the injuries. I think Bones is going to get that. I think he will be slotted in the G League, playing a lot of G League minutes. But remember, the G League season starts after the NBA season, so he's not going to be there right away. He'll be with the NBA on. And he's one or two injuries away from him coming in and getting an opportunity. And I suspect that is going to happen, because it's not just an injury to the backcourt players that we just mentioned, But if Michael Porter or Aaron Gordon goes down, all of a sudden you don't have a small forward either. And now PJ Dozier is probably your starting small forward, and everybody has to slide. Maybe Will Barton's playing backup small forward minutes too. And all of a sudden there's vacancies at the guard spot that he'll probably have to fill. So I think he's going to play real minutes this year, and I'm excited for it.
Man, why you got to poison the hype cast with a doom scenario like that?
That's not a doom scenario, though. I mean, that's just
when you have like the three ends up being. I mean, we get down to our third and fourth guy playing the three. I mean,
straight up, we might have another 7, and it's Bones.
I don't want a 7. I want a 15.
You want a 7? 7 is fun.
I just mean, so I listen. I would love for Bones to just come in and play. Like I just think that. I just have a hard time seeing it outside of injury. Injury, absolutely. Like he's the guy that you look to. But, you know, I see Austin Rivers getting a lot of run this year. I mean, I think that he really ingratiated himself to the coaching staff. And it's always funny. I mean, there's so much seasonality and recency bias when it comes to all of these things. Like when you look at the offseason, you're like, this team won the offseason. And then you're like, but their team is still terrible. You know, we're looking at Summer League, and Bones Hyland is the most exciting thing that's happened to Denver basketball in a very long time. So,
is he exciting enough that you're going to be tuning into the Grand Rapids?
Yes,
same. I agree.
Absolutely. It's also like, look, there's going to be some sort of relationship now between this organization and the Denver Nuggets, whereas even the Nuggets themselves were more not that different from what we were doing, like watching them play for another team and taking notes from that film. But now there's going to be a little more directionality in this whole process, control in this whole process. And so it's absolutely something, obviously, from our job perspective, we should have our eyes on. But from a fan perspective, I want to in Bones. I just want to see this guy with the ball in his hands. If I was willing to watch that Summer League team, I'm willing to watch just about any team.
The G League, the Gold this year will be more exciting, I think, than this Summer League team was. Like, I actually think, and they'll be more cohesive because you actually play together a little bit more. Last thing before we get out of here, guys. I'm curious. I saw this on Reddit the other day, and I thought it was a great question and kind of a fun one. RJ Hampton, I stan him, even though I think that he has a lot of holes in his game and a lot of work. But it's an interesting now to contrast. RJ Hampton or Bones Hyland, who do you have more confidence having? Who's going to have a better career if you were to project it? I'll start with you, Win.
Oh, man. That's tough.
Let us know in the comments as well, guys.
I would say at this point, you've probably got to go Bones Hyland just because he has a shot. And shooting is the most important thing in the NBA.
Yeah.
It's the most important thing in the NBA is to have a shot. And Bones Hyland is going to be a legit shooter from the second he comes in the league. And RJ Hampton, I don't know if he's going to get there. I don't know if he's ever going to be an average three-point shooter. Now, like, I think RJ Hampton's going to have a long career and a really good one. You know, maybe not a really good one. He's going to have a long career, I think. But, I mean, Bones Hyland can shoot it, and I think that is going to give him a certain floor.
Yeah. What do you think there, Eric?
I think Bones. I mean, we love RJ as you, as I, as we stan him, as you say.
Yeah, I stan him.
But we mainly stan him because he's like such a positive, great person. He's like, and the whole time that he was on the Nuggets, I mean, we said this over and over. Like, I still don't know what he's good at as a basketball player. I know he's like hyper athletic, and I know that he has a lot of heart, and I know that he can sort of like rise up when the situation calls for it. But I don't know what like skill you would point to and say like that is what RJ Hampton is good at outside of just being athletic as a skill. And you're right, like Bones Hyland can shoot the basketball, and Bones Hyland has like a really crafty game that I just feel like is going to get better and better. And obviously we've seen him now playing against guys that are a lot bigger than him, even though it is just summer league. I mean, you know, those are, you know, at least the start of NBA bodies. And it wasn't as though he was just getting swallowed up and eliminated like we thought maybe he would, just looking at his measurables. So Bones, baby, let's go.
Vote.
I'll say RJ because of the opportunity. Maybe now, good point by Chad Andrews about the difference in organization at this point. Denver's certainly a place that can get the best out of you. Orlando, not so much. However, RJ does have a chance to be one of the young guys and a guy with the ball in his hands a fair amount. And honestly, he had maybe some empty calorie games, but some really nice games down the stretch for Orlando. So I'll go with RJ just because he's got an organization that needs him in a role that is conducive to a big step up.
I'm gonna go Bones
He is
here.
behind Jalen Suggs now, though.
Yeah, he is behind Suggs, and they just also have a million other dudes. But your point still remains that he is like, there's no question RJ Hampton's going to play minutes next year. There is a question with Bones, but I'm going to go Bones. One, the shooting, the basketball IQ, and just the offensive floor for him is so high. I think RJ Hampton, he has a bottleneck to his game, and a lot of that is just sort of some of the basketball skill parts, like shooting and even just more control with the ball in his hands. So there's a bottleneck there. If he gets past it, his game can really explode. But that bottleneck, a lot of guys don't ever get past that aspect of it. Whereas Bones Hyland, it's the opposite. He has the parts of his game that pop and are so important. And, the parts that he has to improve on, I just, we'll see if some of them maybe can't physically, we'll see, but the shooting is there. And that's just such a huge part of the game. I'm so high on Bones. I'm so high on Bones. I'm so high on this show. I'm so high on our audience. I'm so high. I'm just high right now, guys.
Did you think I cannot believe I'm this excited about the Denver Nuggets already? I was as the season was ending, we were like, Jamal's hurt, all is lost. What are we doing? Who are we going to add? There's nothing left. And already, I'm like, let's freaking go, dude. We've got our whole dynasty in front of us.
I just want to say yes, whereas Bones has far more opportunity as the sixth guard on the depth chart. Good point. Sorry, got a little salty on my way out the door.
A little salty out the door. Jeez, way to bring the vibes down.
Dude,
anti-Bones over here. Wow, the hype cast. Get him out of here, guys. Get Vogt out of here. Everybody else, thanks so much for hanging with us today. We will be back again tomorrow with a brand new episode, mailbag episode. We'll see everybody then. Ooh, goodbye, everyone. How do I do the outro video? Oh crap! Oh no! Where's the outro?